Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're getting practical. We are building a step-by-step playbook for one of the most powerful and, let's be honest, potentially chaotic technologies hitting the business world, AI agents. We're going to cut through the hype and figure out how you can actually put these things to work in your organization.
And just to give you a sense of the scale of this thing, check this out. One report estimates that 11,000 new AI agents are being created, not per year, not per month, but every single day. That pace is just staggering, and it's a huge signal that the way we work is about to fundamentally change.
So, with all that activity, the real challenge isn't the technology itself anymore. It's the strategy, right? How do you actually harness all that power to create real value instead of just, adding another layer of confusion? That is the core question we're going to answer today.
To really get it, you got to think of this as the third wave of automation. It's a great term from Google Cloud CTO. So the first wave, that was spreadsheet formulas. The second wave was things like macros and robotic process automation. But this is totally different. Agents don't just follow a rigid script, they understand our intent and then go figure out how to get it done.
Okay, first things first. We need to be super clear on what an agent actually is. The difference between an agent and other AI tools might seem kind of subtle, but it is absolutely crucial if you want to use them right.
And this right here, this highlights the big shift. An assistant, like a chatbot you might be used to, is command-driven. You give it a prompt, it gives you a response. An agent, on the other hand, is goal-driven. You give it an outcome to achieve, like, hey, generate a sales quote for this customer. And it has the agency, the freedom, to figure out all the steps to make that happen on its own.
This also shows what a huge leap this is beyond traditional robotic process automation, or RPA. RPA is awesome for those rigid, super repetitive tasks where all the data is nice and structured. But the second things get a little messy, it breaks. Agents? They're designed for the mess. They handle unstructured data, they coordinate multiple complex tasks, and they adapt on the fly to get to the goal.
So with all this power at your fingertips, where in the world do you start? Well, the key is that the most successful first projects aren't actually the most ambitious ones. No, they're the ones that are already perfectly prepped and ready for automation.
So how do you find that low-hanging fruit? Well, you look for 4 key things. Number 1, is the business process really well documented? I mean, if a new human hire couldn't follow the instructions, an agent definitely won't be able to. 2, is the data it needs actually available and accessible? Agents can't work in a vacuum. 3, is it a standardized workflow, not something that's changing all the time? And finally, do you have crystal clear metrics for what success looks like? You have to know what good is. The bottom line is, don't try to automate a mystery. Automate a known quantity.
This leads to a really fascinating, kind of counterintuitive insight from Google CTO. You'd probably think that super regulated industries like finance or healthcare would be the last to adopt this stuff, right? But they actually have a head start. And why is that? Because all those years of compliance rules have forced them to meticulously document every single process, basically creating the perfect blueprint for an AI agent to follow.
Okay, so now let's see how this really scales from just a single task to a seriously powerful workflow. And here's the secret. You don't build one giant monolithic super agent. No, you build a team of specialists.
I love this analogy from the experts at IBM. They say to think of it like building an army of focused agents. Each agent has one very specific, very narrow job. They're not generalists at all, they're specialists, and they're all coordinated by a single manager agent that tells them what to do.
Let's make this super real with that sales quote example. So, instead of one agent trying to do everything, a manager agent sees the need and kicks things off. It dispatches a little grabber agent to go collect all the customer info. Then, product agents jump in to validate the SQs. After that, finance and legal agents handle all the pricing and terms. And finally, an assembly agent takes all those pieces and compiles them into a perfectly polished document. See? Each step is handled by its own dedicated specialist.
Now there's a formal name for this concept. It's called a multi-agent system. And it's how you solve problems that are just too big or complex for any single agent to handle. You just break the problem down into smaller pieces, and as the team at Anthropic puts it, you let many Claudes put their heads together to get a better result.
And here's the really slick part about how this works behind the scenes. From the manager agent's point of view, these other little agents, they aren't coworkers. They're just tools in its toolbox. Calling an agent to find a SKU is no different than calling a tool to run a web search. It's just a really simple, elegant way to orchestrate incredibly complex work. Okay, so you've built your team of specialist agents. Awesome. But an AI workforce?
just like a human one, can't just run wild and unsupervised. To make it truly effective and, importantly, trustworthy, you need a management system with some clear guardrails.
So here's the problem you run into really fast. Agents complete tasks at machine speed, right? They can create thousands of items that need human approval, and a human manager instantly becomes a massive bottleneck. The whole system just grinds to a halt. The only way out of that trap is to automate the evaluation process itself.
And this is the brilliant concept of AI as a judge. Basically, you create another specialized agent whose only job is to evaluate the work of the other agents. It checks for quality, for accuracy, for adherence to business rules, and it can automatically approve the work, send it back for revisions, or escalate it to a human if something's really wrong. This is how you get quality at machine scale.
Now, with all this talk of multi-agent systems and AI judges, it's really easy to get carried away and start designing something super complicated. And that's why maybe the most important piece of advice from the experts at Anthropic is to resist that urge to over-engineer. The best systems always start simple, and they only add complexity when it's absolutely necessary.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. Let's wrap this all together into your playbook. It really comes down to 4 key practices. 1. Start simple. Don't overbuild. 2. Provide crystal clear context. Remember, if a brand new human hire would be confused, so will the agent. 3. Build in those AI judges to automate your quality control. And 4, and this is the big one, just get started. The only way you're going to build this capability is by doing it.
And that really brings us to the final, most important question. You've got the playbook now. You know how to move from chaos to clarity. So, what's it going to be? What is the first, well-documented, kind of low-value task that you are going to hand over to your new, very high-value AI workforce? Because the time to start building is right now.